Hello there, welcome back to the Gunthrek campaign. Let's go on with it and stick into GPS data entry. Let's see how we program our little FA-18 to travel in different points, actually different checkpoints on the map. Let's stick it to GPS data entry, okay. So we have the briefing as always, lesson GPS data entry, and we have waypoints 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waypoints for which we will have to enter manually the GPS coordinates, which is latitude and longitude, north and east. Right, let's fly.
Now that you know how to take off and land safely, we need to learn how to get where we're going in between. Most
okay,
real
let
world
him talk.
will have preloaded
Until
waypoints
then,
to guide you.
I'll start the
But for the
plane.
remainder of this section of the course, we're going to
And ready to go.
Okay, let's get started with some data entry. I find that it's easiest to use the right MDI for data entry because all the buttons you'll use the most are located close together, but it's
Let's
up
go
to
to
you.
the right
Do what
MDI.
you're most comfortable with. Also, you should be getting pretty familiar with the cockpit by this point, so I won't be hand-holding you with individual button presses anymore. You'll remember where everything is a lot better if you have to look for it yourself. In order to let me know that you've moved on to the next step, I'll ask you to press the IP push button in the top left of the UFC panel to signal me that you've completed the last instruction provided and I can move
this
on
one
to the
here.
next step. Let's test that out now by pressing the IP button.
Pressing IP now.
Perfect.
Excellent.
The first thing we need to do is get to the data page of the HSI. Go ahead and open up the HSI on one of the MDIs and then press the push button for data.
The push button for data. Press the push button for data. Where's the data? Data, look right here on the upper right corner. Data. Alright, and IP button to continue.
This is where most of the work is going to be done today. As you can see, there are a set of coordinates already listed on the screen. This is the current location of the aircraft, which is listed as waypoint 0 by default. Although it isn't strictly required, we're going to go ahead and get into the habit of adding waypoints to sequence 1 prior to entering the actual coordinates. This way we won't forget to do it later, which would make coupling the autopilot to the navigation impossible. Let's start by pressing the SEQ-UFC push button, then on the UFC menu press the INS push button, enter a value of 1 on the number pad, then press the enter key.
Did that? That's waypoint 1. Alright, I pressed the enter key. Then IP.
Alright, now that we've added waypoint 1 to the sequence, we need to actually put coordinates in. There are 4 types of coordinate systems we'll be learning today: lat-long normal, lat-long precise, lat-long decimal, and finally MGRS.
It's not easy,
The first
isn't
of
it?
these is the simplest, but also the least accurate. Lat-long normal is great for general navigation waypoints that don't require pinpoint precision. They consist of a simple 6-digit number that provides latitude and longitude in values of degrees, minutes, and seconds.
Without decimals,
For example, our first waypoint is
41, 40.
North 41, 40, 43, East 45, 29, 06, 2,451 feet. The first letter of each line indicates the hemisphere of that 6-digit coordinate. We're in the north and east hemispheres, or northeast hemisphere. The first pair of numbers tells you what degree of latitude or longitude you're at. The next pair are the minutes, and the last pair are seconds. What does that mean to you in the cockpit?
Nothing.
Not much, honestly, but that's how maps work. The last line is the elevation at those coordinates in feet, which isn't really required for navigation, but is critical when dropping ordnance for precision strikes, so we're going to get in the habit of entering that information every time we deal with GPS.
You have to know the altitude. Tap the IP button to continue.
The aircraft likely started in decimal mode, so we're going to have to switch that before entering the code. Press the AC button to bring up the configuration menu. Then if you see lat long decimal in the bottom right, press it so it changes to lat long seconds. Then go back to the waypoint screen. To enter the first waypoint, first make sure you're on the correct waypoint by pressing the up and down arrows to select waypoint 1, then press the UFC push button. Move over to the UFC menu and press the POSN button. To enter the coordinates, you first need to tell the UFC which hemisphere you're entering, and the 2, 4, 6, and 8 buttons have direction indicators on them that you press before entering the 6-digit coordinates. So to enter the first line, you press 2 for north, then type out 414053 and press the enter key.
Yep, that's not easy. Look, 2 for north, yeah, and 6 for east. Alright, so first press the AC button. AC, where are you? Somewhere around here. AC button. Right. To bring up the configuration menu. This is the configuration menu. Alright. Then if you see lat long decimal in the bottom right, lat long decimal, exactly that, press it so it changes to lat secondary, or then go back to the waypoint screen. So here we change it to sec. And then go back to the waypoint screen, which I think this is one here. WIPT. Yeah. Back to the waypoint. To enter the first waypoint, first make sure you're in the correct waypoint by pressing the up-down arrows to select waypoint 1. Probably this one here are the up and down arrows. See? 1. Alright, 1, everything is 0, so we have to put in some coordinates, yeah? Then press the UFC push button. UFC here. And we pass along to this central panel. Move over to the UFC menu and press the position button. Position button pressed. To enter the coordinates, you first need to tell the UFC which hemisphere you're entering. That's north. This one here. North. Alright. And the 2, 4, 6 and 8 buttons have direct indication for that you press. So to enter the first line, you press to north, then type 41 40 53. 41 40 53. Yep. And press enter key, and it should appear here at the north. Let's press enter, 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 and it appeared here. And we have to do the same thing probably with the south. Do we have the south here listed? No. Then we press the IP button.
Now press 6 for east and enter the appropriate 6 digits for that coordinate, 452906, and press enter.
452906, enter. And verifying 452905. Oh man, I did a mistake. Alright, let's see how do we correct that mistake. Pressing post and once again, and south, and we try once again. 4529, 4529, and not 05 because 06, and pressing enter, and it didn't change. Now that's really disappointing. So how do I delete this if I enter it wrong? That's an enigma. An enigma. Alright, let's try clear. Right? So we press south, which we are not because we are with the east. Clear. Alright, where is east? East. Alright, it's not working. UFC again, and this time POSN, and let's try it with north. Look here, it changed here south and east, so it always begins from the start. Let's press it with north, and north it was, I think, 45, no, I have to go to message history. North 41 40 53, 41 40 53, and pressing enter. Alright, it took it. Look, 41 40 53. Now going on with east, and east is 45 29, 45 29 06, enter, and it didn't change. Wow. Now this is interesting, isn't it? It's still 05. It's not east. At east, yeah, it is still 05, not 06. Let's try and do it like this, right? So press POSN again, press east, and doing some bullshit, enter some bullshit. 2 2 2. It's north. Oh no, not that. Right, maybe we have to clear. Let's see. East, east. No, clear that. Right. UFC again. POSN again, and east. He's not taking it. See, there is no E here. Let's put in some bullshit. 5, it's not writing. Alright, let's say with north. And with north it's okay. 41, 40, 53. 41, 40, 53. Enter. Right? East. Now it's okay. Let's see, say clear, clear. East again. Alright. Let's say 44, 44, and 44. Hit enter. It's not correcting it. But it worked. Oh my god, 44, 44, 43. So he's auto-correcting. Oh my, it wasn't my mistake. It was a ghost's mistake. So he corrects the last digit from the seconds. Oh my god, let's put it in once again, right? POSN north 41 40 40 and 53. Enter it, passing on to east and doing it right. 45 29, 45 29 06. Look, check me out. 45 39 06, and I hit enter, and it is 45 29 05. So it's his fault, not mine. Yes, right? So we understand that. So he's auto-correcting some stuff here, pressing IP button.
Lastly, enter the elevation information by pressing the ELEV button.
ELEV.
Typing in the value provided,
By
2451. Verifying that you're using the correct unit of measurement, feet, and pressing enter to store the waypoint.
51. 2451 verified. Enter. And verify 2451 feet verified. Press IP to not continue.
Not too complicated, but also not very useful for anything but navigation.
Not too
If
complicated,
we're going
but
to
not
drop bombs using
simple.
GPS, we're going to need something quite a bit more precise, and this is where the first of the precise modes comes in. To use this, we need to put the system in the correct mode by pressing the precise push button at the bottom of the display.
Let's see, can we do that by ourselves? So, passing into IAC mode. Oh no, it's not, look, it is here, precise. So we don't have to go to the AC mode. We go back to the waypoint mode and push precise. And now, after the seconds, see here, hours, minutes, seconds, it added decimals, 00 and 99. So that's why 05, it's not 06, because it is 05.99. Got it? Got it, boss. Right, let's continue. Press IP to continue.
As you can see, the simpler coordinates we were looking at a minute ago just got a bit more complex, but for a good reason. This allows us to get pinpoint accuracy by splitting up the normal coordinates,
2 or
which
3
cover a
meters
much
pinpoint.
larger area, into smaller chunks by using decimals. The process for entering these is exactly the same as before, except for one additional step, but before we can get to that we need to remember to add waypoint 2 as part of the sequence, so press SEQUFC INS 2, enter. Then be sure to advance the system to waypoint 2 with the up arrow.
Yes.
Once that's done, refer to the mission briefing in the menu or the mission card in your kneeboard to get the coordinates for waypoint 2. Then go ahead and press the UFC button and enter the part of the north coordinate you know how to do, everything before the decimal point, and press enter.
Alright, so I have to know what to do because I just did it with the waypoint 1. Let's do some business, right? So zooming in, sequence here, we have a button for the sequence, and pressing GCPD, TGT, TOT, INS or DEL. Let's press 2 and enter. Errada, look at this. Enter, errada. I didn't see that for a long time, from the university I think. Right, so he says sequence and INS, right? So we forget one thing. When you forget something, it always returns an error, right? So INS to enter, right? We tucked it in. After that, we have to navigate to the waypoints again, waypoints here, and tick here waypoint 2, right? It's also, everything is 0. And from here we have to go to the briefing area, blah 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 blah, message history briefing, and we have to have here for waypoint 2 coordinates north 41 52 10, right? But we have to tick the UFC. Waypoint 2 is selected, and POSN and north and 41 and 52, and my memory just got erased, and 41 52 10. 10, right? Enter, and now he's asking for those decimals, and that's 90. And enter. And now we can pass on to the east coordinates. East, right? And of course we press ESC again because we have to look into the briefing, and 45 23 11 11 45 23 11, enter. And for the decimal we press ESC again. That's 53. 53. Enter. Right. Elevation settings. Elevation settings are in feet and whoops, out of focus. What did I do? And elevation settings 5408. 5408. Enter. Verifying the information. So north entered, east entered, and elevation 5408 feet entered. So everything should be okay. Right, pressing IP button.
All that's left now is the remaining decimal. For more precise modes like this, which include decimal space, the decimal values are entered on a separate screen from the main coordinates. So for this example, we typed in N415210 and pressed the enter key, which brought up the HDTH page. Simply type in 90 and press enter again to complete the entry.
We
An
did
easy
that.
way to remember this is to replace the enter with dot or decimal in your head while typing the coordinate out. The waypoint display should now show the full coordinate information for the first line, but still 0 for the second.
Yes.
Go ahead and type in the second coordinate the same way as you did the first, then be sure to add the elevation information in the correct unit of measurement.
Yeah, in feet, 5408 meters. And IP to continue, we already did that.
If you entered everything correctly, your readout should now be
North.
N4152 10.90.
Yes.
E45 2311.53.
Yes.
5,408 feet.
Yes. Thank you, Bagel.
If it isn't, give it another shot by repeating the steps and paying a little more attention to detail.
Yes, thank you, Bagel. Not
Tap
needed.
the I/P button to continue.
Alright. So this is the fixes from Gunthrek campaign. Bagel fix. Right this here. Press IP to continue.
As before, let's add waypoint 3 to the sequence, then advance to waypoint 3 with the up arrow. Once that's done, switch back to the AC page and toggle back to lat long decimal so we can try that version.
Wow. So we have to add waypoint 3. Yeah? Then advance to waypoint 3. Yeah. And then switch back to lat long decimal. Right? So how do we do that? This is how we do it. Sequence. INS. And 3. And enter. Done. And now we navigate to 3. Navigated there. 0 everything. Going to AC. And changing to lat long decimal. Back to the waypoint. Easy. Easy. Right? IP to continue.
This works pretty much the same way, except that it's a bit shorter and has more digits behind the decimal. Be advised that any single number in what is supposed to be a pair of digits should be entered with a 0 before it, so in this case you should be typing in North 4206 and then enter.
Alright, let's try it. UFC, POSN, North, and 4206. Enter. So TTHO, what is that? We don't know. Let's press IP. Where is the IP? Right.
And as before, enter the decimal portion. This time it's 3 digits instead of just 2. Once that's done, repeat the process for the east coordinate, then enter the elevation as usual.
But you didn't say to go to the briefing area. Alright, briefing area. 42.6, here we had to add a 0. So, here, right? Here. 42.6 is 42.06. The other 3 decimals are 436. Right, let's fly. So that's what's asking the TTHO. 436. 436. Enter. Right? So now going to the east. Right? And again, briefing area. Waypoint 3 to the east. 4505-294. 4505. Enter. 294. Enter. And elevation, a briefing, 3,202 feet, 3202. Enter. Verifying information 4306, 436, and elevation 3202 checked out. Right? IP button to continue.
Okay, now for the weird one. MGRS uses a
this
grid
is weird.
system to set coordinates, and it has a unique user interface to make it work. Get waypoint 4 set up as part of the sequence and advance to waypoint 4 so we can try this out.
Let's set up waypoint 4, yeah. Alright. So, sequence, and INS, checked, and waypoint 4, and enter. And checked here, and everything is 0. And IP.
Press the UFC push button on the MDI, then press the grid option from the UFC menu. This will bring up a screen with, of all things, a big grid. At the center of this display will be the grid where your aircraft is located. You can navigate this screen by using the direction push buttons to find the desired grid square. We're looking for grid square M, which isn't where our aircraft is located, so we need to move it. Tap the I/P button to continue.
Yeah, thank you, Bagel. So this is grid square, not it's M&Ms, like the candies, the M&Ms with the peanuts. Yeah, like so. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's take it easy because this is different. Yeah, so pressing UFC will highlight the central panel. Then press the grid option from the UFC menu. Here is the grid option. Pressed. The grid has appeared on the right MDI. Perfect. This will bring up a screen at the grid, exactly this. At the center of the display grid where the aircraft is located. Actually here in the NMM, not the M&Ms. You can navigate this screen by using the direction push buttons to find the desired grid square. We are looking for the grid M&Ms, we're looking for the M&Ms, which isn't where our aircraft is located. So we need to move it. So let's search for M&Ms. Here maybe to the left. M&Ms checked, right? So this is for the grid square M&M, which is in blah blah blah. So we need to move it, pressing IP.
Using the throttle control designator, either using the appropriate keybinds or the controls on your stick, move the cursor on the display until it's over the MM square, then press the TDC select button.
So yes, we can do that
Once
too.
you're back on the coordinate screen, type out the 10-digit coordinates provided and press enter. Ignore the space between the 5-digit blocks. They're placed there for readability. You enter all 10 digits on the same screen. Note that if you're unable to enter all 10 digits, the system is not in precise mode. Be sure that's boxed before entering the coordinates.
Now this is interesting. So we have to tick this M&M here, right? Until the M&M square. Alright. And then we'll have to, let's tick it with the, how is it called? The depress button, TDC select, yeah? Yeah, alright, so I can move it from the TDC here, yeah, with my throttle, yeah, and press it, right, it got here, back, yeah, and after this, type out the 10-digit coordinates provided and press enter. So this is quite foggy here. So we press the TDC select button, and once you're back on the coordinates screen, which we are right now, type out the 10-digit coordinates provided and press enter. Type out the 10-digit coordinates provided where? In the briefing. Waypoint 4. This one here, 38 TMM, 10 digits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's talking about this one is here. Alright. But how do we type them? Because nothing is selected, grid is selected here. Let's try to type it directly. Right? Let's try to do that. Briefing. 87049. 87049 and 293312. 12. Let's press enter, see if something will happen. Press enter and the coordinates are locked, and probably you will have to push in the elevation. Right? But let's don't do that. Precise is boxed. If yours is not, be sure this precise is checked. Right? Let's press the IP button. See what he says.
Your display should now read as follows.
0 feet.
North 4148.9349. East 44 50.6444, 38 TMM 87049293120 feet.
Exactly.
Go ahead and enter the elevation information as usual, and this waypoint is finished.
Yes. So as I told you, the elevation has to be entered, of course. 1933. Elevation 1933. Enter. And the elevation has appeared 1933 feet. And press IP to continue.
Almost ready to fly now. We need one more
Can you
waypoint
imagine
to get us
that?
back to the airfield, and you're going to enter that one in all by yourself.
Can you
You
imagine
can find
that?
the information in the mission briefing or kneeboard. I will give you a few hints, though.
Hints.
Remember sequencing. Which waypoint is this?
Yes,
Is
5.
precise required for this format?
Probably, I
Which
don't know.
lat long setting on the A seat page is required for this format?
So we have to enter waypoint 5. Let's press escape and briefing. What do you say? What kind of a GPS, what type of GPS coordinates are this? So waypoint 5 is north 4138, 1468 and 1524 feet. So this is with the decimals. So it's the second type of GPS coordinates. That's the lat long sick. I think it was sick. Let's see if I am right. So sequence INS pushing in the 5th waypoint, enter, changing here on 5th, right? So this is not right, that's for sure. Okay, so going to AC and change to lat long sequence, right? Going back to waypoint and as changed to our desired format. Alright, let's enter it. Briefing 41 38 14 41 38 14 38 41 38 14. Enter. And the HDTH is, oh, where are you? 68. East coordinates, ESC briefing 450108. Enter HDTH 361524. 36. Enter elevation 1534. Checking 1524. Clear our mistake. Clear. Don't judge me. 1524. Enter. And checking information. 4130, 1468, 4500, IS36, 1524 feet. Check. Oh, that's interesting. IP.
Okay, hopefully you got that right.
Hopefully we got
We'll
that right.
find out if you make it back to the airfield without getting lost.
We will get lost, that's for sure.
Press the HSI push button to go back to the HSI. Then be sure to box the waypoint button. Set waypoint 1 as the active and activate sequence 1. Once that's done, go ahead and taxi to the active runway and take off. Climb to an altitude of 10,000 feet and maintain a speed no greater than 350 knots. After that, it's up to you to get yourself back to the airfield.
I love this guy. Good job, Gunthrek here. Good job, Bagel, with the fixes. Yes, 10,000 feet, 350 knots. Let's check it, boys. Right, so here, waypoint selected, waypoint 1, sequence 1 selected, and our roadmap is here. I think we have to go left. That's what it shows. Lovely. We worked so much, 20 minutes introducing GPS coordinates. This is how it's done. What do you think? That the plane knows everything by its own? Probably will know, but not the 4th generation. Yeah, and it's not a very good tactic. Think about it. Anybody can put in anything of coordinates and can bring you in a war zone situation exactly where they want you. Everything is about hacking coordinates, hacking data info, and you can have stealth airplanes, you can have 10th generation airplane. It's useless if it walks into a death trap. And all you have to do, change one GPS coordinate. Alright, I think we are done. Let's break it. Verify flaps to half, gears at down. I think we are okay for takeoff. Brakes on, military power. Brakes off. And the melon farmer is takeoff. Flaps to auto, gears up. Yeah. Let's go manual or go by autopilot. Let's try the autopilot. Slow down because we already exceeded 350. AP, couple. And he's already turning. Wow, that's beautiful. If it's beautiful, let's be ready to enable the ATC at 350. ATC enabled. Speed stopped at 346. 346, yes. Right. Plane still turning towards waypoint 1. And leveling off. 10,000 feet. We still have to check that. And after that, maybe we will start off also the altitude autopilot. So this is the heading autopilot, the couple. The bolt is the altitude autopilot. And the ATC is the speed autopilot. 8,000 feet. Climbing. "14 miles towards waypoint 1. 9,000 feet climbing. Leveling. Leveling. Exactly above the clouds. Beautiful. I think the waypoint coupling has turned off. We started it back. Alright. And start the altitude autopilot too. And now we can clap our hands. We have nothing else to do. Let's check the EW page. Yes, chaff flare manual 1 set. Everything is set, right? So in this kind of situation you can check your stores. No weapons. We are civilian aircraft. We will have also weapons in no time. 7 miles towards waypoint 1. Let's accelerate time. Control Z. 4, 3, 2. Oops.
And get familiar with the landscape. Waypoints 2 and 3 will take us straight over the primary range. Then we'll head toward waypoint 4 to line up with the runway at Vaziani.
Alright, let's we arrived at waypoint 1. We have to check here on waypoint 2 because it's not automatic. We have to do it manually. It's also possible to do this automatic. but I like it manual. I don't like the plane to fly me everywhere where he wants to fly me. I want to fly in the plane, not the other way around. Let's accelerate time. Seven miles, 5 miles, 4 miles, 3, 2.
We'll cross directly overhead and then turn south toward the airfield.
Yeah, so this is the eastern boundary of the practice field probably. Alright, so we have 0.8 till waypoint 2. Right here. Let's increase the scale. Yeah, it's bigger, nicer. We arrived. Check waypoint 3. Yeah, turn towards waypoint 3, adjust course, and accelerate time. "10 miles, 8 miles, 5 miles.
Let's talk about the full case 1 recovery procedure.
Hey.
What
Oh my
we
God.
practiced this morning was the bolter/wave-off procedure for landing on the carrier, which
Case
is
1
actually
recovery,
part
yeah.
of the tail end of the case 1 recovery when a pilot doesn't make the landing. We did it that way because it allowed you to practice the hardest part of the pattern over and over without having to leave the airfield area and come back. While you'll likely be doing wave-offs and bolters a lot once we do it for real, we need to learn the proper procedure to execute a carrier landing. For the remainder of this course, forget that you ever heard the words straight in landing.
Oh
The last
no.
part of an approach to the carrier requires you to perform an initial pass to the right of the ship to confirm the deck isn't fouled before conducting your braking turn to the left and entering the downwind. We're going to simulate that for every landing from now on so that it's second nature by the time we relocate to the Stennis for carrier quals. Once we reach waypoint 4 and begin our descent toward the runway, we'll do a quick rundown of the procedure and you'll give it a shot as we go in for the landing.
Yeah, so he just distracted my attention, of course, and we reached waypoint 3 and the plane autopilot just tried to turn it back. So I had to set it to waypoint 4. Now the plane is turning towards waypoint 4. Let's accelerate a little bit. "20 miles. Let's stop it at about, I don't know, 10 miles. 12 miles. 10 miles. Alright, so what he says is that we will practice a case 1 recovery. It is a case 1 recovery. So, but it is adapted to an airfield. Of course, we will not do a straight in landing. So first time we will pass at the right side of the airport, of the airfield, sorry, on the right side, yeah. So this is supposed to simulate the checking the deck of the of the carrier, yeah. And then we do a 90 degree turn to our left, another 90 degree turn to our left, and then we're gonna come back. He will explain better than I do, right? So 3 more miles towards checkpoint 4. Let's accelerate a little bit.
What you practiced this morning. As you approach the airfield, slow and maintain 350 knots. Descend to 800 feet.
800
AGL,
feet.
Line yourself to the right of the runway far enough that you can look down and verify that the runway is clear.
Exactly.
After that, it's pretty much the same as what you did earlier.
Turn left 90 degrees.
Once you're past the runway and begin your turn, allow yourself to descend down to about 600 feet and then do what you did before. Don't forget to switch back to the radar altimeter to get your AGL altitude. Get us on the ground and back to parking spot 1, then shut down the aircraft and we'll be done for the day.
Alright, let's turn everything off and start the procedures. So, we are now coupled in every autopilot possible. Speed, altitude, heading, right? Right now the airplane is heading towards waypoint 1, back to where the airfield is, right there in front, to our, let's say, 11 o'clock, exactly, 10 o'clock, right? We have to pass on the right side of the airfield at 800 feet. Then, when we pass the airfield, we have to be like descended to 600 feet, turn 90 degrees left, sharp, with the throttle to idle, so we lose speed to 250, then take the gears out and the full flaps, yeah, and then turn again, and we are back into the to the last turn. Let's see, resume. So let's uncouple everything around here. So no need for heading autopilot, no need for altitude autopilot, no need for ATC. Everything manually, right? So we have to slow down right now. That means we have to go down. Yeah. Try to reach throttle to idle. Try to reach those 800 feet. Turn our altimeter to RDR. Our speed is 370. We can open some air brake if you want.
Altitude. Altitude.
4,000 feet. Airspeed open. 3,000 feet. 2,500. 2,000. That's interesting. And 800. 700 actually. Our speed is a little bit slow, 218, but it's okay. So we fly at 800 on the right side of the airfield. When we reach 1 mile out, we will bank left and turn around. Yeah, so the airfield is clean. There are no idiots playing football on it. Not that the guys that are playing football are idiots, but I'm just saying. Right? That's the airfield.
Okay, you're about a mile out, so execute your brake turn. But
Brake
this time
turn.
allow the velocity vector to slip just below the horizon so you can enter the downwind at about 600 foot AGL. Remember that you're looking to start at around 3G and slowly level out at a heading of 310. You should be about halfway through your turn at this point. Don't forget to lower your flaps and landing gear once your airspeed is below 250 knots. Level out at a heading of 310 and get your aircraft stabilized with the velocity vector on the horizon.
Alright, 310 and $160.
Looking good. You're
Trim
within the
down.
downwind corridor, so focus on keeping the velocity vector on the horizon with pitch trim and bringing the E-bracket down to it with throttle. Try to stay around 600 feet AGL and maintain a heading of 310.
Bringing down the E-bracket right now, trim up, 160, trim up, throttle decelerating, trim up, 158, trim up. We are pretty slow.
Okay, begin your turn toward the runway when you're ready. Remember to add power and wait at least 90 degrees before looking at the runway.
Adding power. Now we have to turn
Start
more.
visually lining up with the runway and get the velocity vector and E-bracket on the numbers. Remember that you have to keep that throttle moving to stay ahead of the aircraft.
Yeah, that was too close. Too close. And the turn was really bad, really bad. Let's treat it like an emergency landing.
Good trap. Exit the runway when able.
Alright, I engaged the air brake too. And the wheel brakes are full. Now this was more like an carrier landing than an airfield landing. It was dropped. I dropped the plane onto the airfield, not glided onto it.
Head back to parking spot 1 and shut down the aircraft.
Understood. Whoopsie daisy. My pinky rudder. Right, let's accelerate time. The aircraft stopped. Forgot to throttle. Alright, I think it's here somewhere. Let's check it out on the map. Now what's happening? Of course my microphone just fell off. Something's wrong here. My zoom is not working anymore. Why is that? Let's do it from here. Not working. I didn't do anything. Oh my god. Map is not working. What the? Now that's interesting. Almost on waypoint 1, on parking slot 1. Let's go a little bit further and stop here. This should be better. Alright, let's start stopping the plane. Trim, parking brake, O-box, the radar panel, the radios, all the way, the TACAN, MDIs, the HUD, AMPCD, the battery,
Alright, let's go get some dinner and then we have a night flight to complete.
and the engines. Everything is shut down. So this was the mission. Let's see the score. Everything is shut down and beautiful. Nice plane, beautiful. Escape, quit. So let's see the percentage, the mark. And we didn't get lost. Right, 100 and mission 100 success. Success. Excellent, gentlemen. You just did a great work. Next, what follows is TACAN, ADF and ILS navigation. So till then, I'm Vince and I'm telling you, you're a good one. If you learn all of this, you know something. Learn it all, learn it all. It's not easy, but it's not hard. So thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you even more for flying with me. And what can I say? See you on the next one. Ciao.